He was out here warming up for about 10 minutes, but a big
hit on the floor.
Here's Butler, Wilt Chamberlain, and Kevin Durant.
To limit his minutes, but that's what he gives you right.
Edwards making his 8th, attacking Pajemski, hanging, can't play, catch and shoot for 3. Like we saw in November when he made his first.
But it's the accuracy that's impressive.
And with Steph Curry telling me it's just still as hard, and it's nice to have somebody else things out here going forward, Dave.
A lot of people miss Davis when you're putting a team together, turnover team, a little erratic.
It's a question some had as Washington hangs it.
And yeah, he's afterwards. So having that previous success
after the game as Irving misfires on the.
I think that's the part people may not see is how style.
Edwards can't get the.
Not all games count the same. Both know how to play off the ball, on the ball.
Butler on Washington. And it rolls around. Warrior points, 3-pointer, no good. And Green. 3 no good. Washington spots up. 3 is on. And Green knocks over. Will face his former team.
I mean, Anthony Davis, Gafford, and
right?
Yeah, of course, but
step off the bounce, Kansas fires underneath. Might have been a travel. More shooting so far. Pulls up. Can't. Irving struggling so far. For part of that trade for Luka Doncic.
Just, what is it, 2020 good about it?
Well, there's no question. Is Chris energy? You mentioned the words.
Know what you're getting. It's just huge.
Possession. Christie's been great. Somebody give him some minutes as a big, so they
center position at least under control. Find out if Jason Kidd's right. That's the question. Best thing he does, but he's capable of back as soon as they can.
Butler for 2022. Marshall corner 3.
Good job by Marshall. That's not what Butler does, but Butler's so good at
scan to learn more. He'll pull up 4-3. That's good.
Need.
Pajemski to the basket.
And really erase a lot of what
we learned down the middle of the paint and
in a more confident way.
Dinwiddie got position to Butler. Now we still have 2 months left to the record. Here's Brown down the lane. 5 from the floor. Butler's 3. Not the drives underneath. Gets the 3 away in front of the Warrior bench.
And part of that hot start.
Takes the team. Like I said, we just
shoot anymore. You don't have to just sit here and relax. Towards misses. Irving tips it.
Don't make them like they used to. A shot makes it such a different game.
Got the defender off his feet. Pajemski left alone. His shooting drills.
I just want to say hi, Dave.
Warriors by 16. Thompson drive the trade. The Warriors are 4-1. Finds post in the corner and the Thompson drives. Turn. Moody finds the ball again. Exum corner 3. Got it.
He'll play him long minutes in big games. He's got
the shot clock at 3. Game. He started 7 this year for bench last night. They lost a key game to Brooklyn.
The East, and you got to play the games and
all the way to the basket, but missed the layup. Marshall paint. Edwards in and out after missing 7 in a row because of injury. Out depending on the player.
I know.
Got a streak in November, December before lights out. The games earlier this year. Post working hard.
He has played tremendous here. Tough start. His boat over here.
Recently, here's Curry, and he can't. Good look, Irving. Santos as Marshall fell down.
Al's trying to make a push.
6 of his last 13 games. Looney got stripped. Moody cleans it up. Christie. All of them to have a reevaluate.
Rob is Kobe's agent. So don't underestimate the fact that that trust helped those guys.
Just 16 points for Golden off the bench for Dallas. Marshall on the drive. Puts it in.
Defense, but again,
beating the Knicks.
They do well.
Marshall no drive by Butler shaking.
Once he got by, it was easy.
Bounce. And the 3. Laid back to 20. Dinwiddie. Butler drives. Foul.
We get paid.
And he got it.
Pick the direction is it his words. We picked it.
Currently 2 games above 5.
His game on the biggest stages. Keeps moving, saying they're feeling this.
Led Miami to the finals. 2.
Call him a winner. Rare is the player
on the other end. Now a Warriors. Check that. Fouls on Hield. Inside last weekend. Instead, Pajemski with the. Here's Moody from the corner. The last meeting a week ago as Tom. They have won 5 of. Derek Lively missing his 8th straight game with a hip injury.
He's talking about just too easy and nights that they're used to.
Curry driving on Thompson and puts it home. First time in 4 years. They're looking for Curry. Pajemski bumped by Edwards. Forced Steve Kerr to call an early time tonight in the win over Denver. What a pass bump by the Warriors. And missed it.
But it's a lot of toll. Look at that stat right there. Just for those guys, or hopefully both for the match.
Those have been rarities. Those winning
is also
a season long. Floater is 40% from three on the season.
But saw Klay Thompson
With the foul is third. Thompson, it's significant.
Well, the rehab alone, Dave, just the
Irving on the back cut. Puts it, drives, floats it up. No. 18 points so far. Makes
the studio for that. That was fit to the top 10 in both offense and defense.
approximate foul on Green.
You can track the success rate. But good job there. But
Again, will it be enough? Can they get stops?
and his body's just still competing. Last year in their run to the finals.
Curry, for a guy like Max Christie. Thompson.
Otherwise, you really get a good
Leader of Dallas's team this year.
Irving, your best players being your best leader.
Oh, wow. Of that team. And that's not a knock on Luka going for it now. And part of that.
For an adductor injury, this is the fifth straight. The other side, is this an opportunity to learn from this when it comes to
because do with that, I don't know, Luka. You couldn't find one that's more LeBron James there with Ron does at 40 years old.
Washington to Santos, the three now. Second three.
Just fighting to stay connected.
Not on the floor right now as Curry.
It's like a 5 p.m. go to bed. I mean,
Guys past two guys, banks in the three and still going. Snooney. Contact is 38. And they're going to call an offensive foul. Dudes in this league is Butler on the floor.
reason to believe it isn't, but some of it is off that emotional high. Thing to see, wow.
Curry.
And, you look at the
Final and can't kiss it home, but the tip.
And Butler has been
Very frenetic pace. About a 4-second in. Tries to create some.
going to separate themselves. Okay.
With 2 seconds left. Washington for the first time since games above 500. Haven't been there in post. Here's Podziemski in the lane. Irving's three.
Stay, Dave, but the rest of the stretch until they get some environment without any help from any big guys.
They're still out for the Mavericks, and by far his best game, 35.
Good chance they end up here. This game's a much different game when Spurs and all these other, but it's not to say they couldn't get now.
Here's Prosper, three-pointer. Is the Lakers in fourth most of the season without Kawhi Leonard. Warrior. Brandon Podziemski, corner three. Got it.
Jimmy gets to play with him, and obviously
March 14th.
Moody and real ground. Their strength of schedule is very
from 8th and 2 games back in the loss column. So we'll see them again. Here's Brandon Williams.
I mean, they're on a good run, not getting healthy, and other Warriors. Yeah, and that'll be big, and they'll be stretch run.
Post.
It was Butler they got. Game for sure.
3-point. He had a great rookie year.
He was missing bad. And
Evan Knox is on the floor, so Green, Steph again. He'll finish with 30 points.
Understanding they're all a little older.
And you have to make sure you get in and Prosper. Won't fall.
And I don't know the number 1 seed here before in the first round. Follow me, and I'll show you. Asked Andre to come off the bench. It allowed Steve to coach the team.
You use the word stability.
Player, he could help you guard your player. Distributor, great defender, multiple. We try to convince them. This is to stop, figure out the money. Hey, Pash, one of my coworkers.
Skills.
Well, I mean, he came back around series when we would do walks to do. We need to guard one of the smartest guys really to ever play
to win number 30. Post. And that's a foul.
This is Dallas giving their best shot, but
15th straight game. Day to see what they look like because 5 so that he could play.
About Boston doing it, but and so maybe kids onto something. Now I hear him out there because
this made last year to bring in PJ Wall.
We'll see, we'll see where it goes. Bring that, and that's
game if there was a tiebreaker in the first half in that spot. Here's Moody from the corner. Points, as we mentioned, Thomas none in the last meeting a week ago. As Tom,
We have to get more shooting around them guys.
they have won 5 of this. Daniel Gafford, Derek Lively, success, but he's been out missing his 8th straight game with a hip injury.
The transition defense Jared Dudley was talking about, just too easy, and both of them thus far have just not had the typical nights that they're used to.
2 of 11 overall. Curry driving on Thompson and puts it home. Consecutive 30-point games for the first time in 4 years. Butler looking for Curry. Podziemski bumped by Edwards. Yeah, they led 9-4. That forced Steve Kerr to call an early touch. had his best game as a Laker last night in the win over Denver. What a pass. Pajemski, an 8-0 run right now by the Warriors. Thompson driving and missed it.
Agreed at the 5. Doesn't love doing that, but it's a lot of toll
In the NBA behind Philadelphia.
Look at that stat right there. Just some real offense out of either of those guys, or hopefully both, for the Mavs.
Dallas has won 3 in a row. Those have been rarities. Those winning.
The Mavs, that guy we just saw, Anthony Davis, is also
consecutive 20-point game, which is a season long. Floater is actually shooting under 40% for 3 on the season.
His own shot could have driven or pulled up himself, but saw Klay Thompson have some good possessions together.
Christie with the foul is 3rd. Thompson, with this age, to do what he's doing, it's significant.
Well, and just the rehab alone, Dave, just the work ethic.
Irving on the back cut. Puts he drives, floats it up. No. 18 points so far.
I mean, the Cavs are. I was in the studio for that. That was. They got bigs, they got defense. They rank in the top 10 in both offense and defense.
Right, that they maybe were looking to see if there was a proximate foul on Green.
iPad, and fascinatingly, you can track the success rate. You're failing. You have a 60% success rate, but good job there. By the
2 struggled in the first half, but again, will it be enough? Can they get stops?
Team is pretty banged up, and his body's just still completely had it, and now we're seeing it. I think we saw it last year in their run to the finals.
Curry, and now he'll be really good for a guy like Max Christie. Thompson
reacts that you don't maybe get as much otherwise. You really get a good
Mavericks team as the full-blown leader of Dallas's team this year.
Important is it to have players like Irving, your best players, being your best leader.
mentor Luka on habits. Oh, wow. Was Kyrie of that team. And that's not a knock on Luka, because he's 5 years older. So the idea was we're going for it now. And part of the
game on both ends of the floor, but suffered an adductor injury. This is the 5th straight. Kyrie Irving. How about on the other side? Is this an opportunity to get them to the finals? Can he learn from this when it comes to...
Imagine it shook him because they're also shocked. What will he do with that? I don't know, Luka. A message. You couldn't find one that's more, but again, he has LeBron James there. You can't sit there if you're Luka and watch what LeBron does at 40 years old.
The Finals MVP. Washington 3rd quarter. Curry gets past him, gives it up to Santos. The 3 now 25 for Curry, his 2nd 3.
Too many of those, especially with the Mavs just fighting to stay connected.
So much less when Butler's not on the floor right now as Curry.
Is that an early good night call? I feel like it's like a 5 p.m. go to bed.
Curry made 2 in a row. Now he drives past 2 guys. Banks in the 30-point afternoon for Steph Curry, and still going. Looney. Contact. Steph Curry at 30 points. His season high is 38.
Coming out of the timeout.
And they're going to call an offensive foul in something.
Yes.
Some confident dudes in this league as things have been for Curry with Butler on the floor.
Is it sustainable? And there's no reason to believe it isn't. But some of it is. The thing about Jimmy Butler is even when you're off that emotional high, this team, it'd be fascinating to see. Wow,
Curry.
But I'm always looking at matchups in the playoffs. And, you look at these. Oh, boy.
For college football. Final on Christie, get him off his feet, and can't kiss it home, but the tip.
Need in close games, close series, and Butler has been.
And his teammates, sometimes they play at a very frenetic pace. About a 4 on Exum. Leans in, tries to create some for 3 months of the season.
Here's the question, though, on a bigger level. Who's going to separate themselves? Okay.
Exum ahead to Washington with 2 seconds left. Washington for the 3rd straight time, for the first time since during the stretch to get them 3 games above 500. Haven't been there in a Draymond Green, Pajemski, Moody, and Post. Here's Pajemski in the lane.
Rebounder for a guard.
Irving's three.
He's just going to, not just today, Dave, but the rest of the stretch until they get some, do it in a very difficult environment without any help from any big guys.
Lively, Dwight Powell, the other three bigs are still out for the Mavericks, and great for the Lakers last night. By far his best game, 35.
Which we're already seeing. Good chance they end up here in a playoff series with Anthony Davis. This game's Lookers going to kill that. Well, you know, much different game when Memphis and the Lakers and the Clippers and all these other the fray, but it's not to say they couldn't get.
Denver lost last night. Here's Prosper, three-pointer is good. You get the Lakers in fourth this year, as well as they played most of the season without Kawhi Leonard, and a handful of games as a Warrior. Brandon, now Butler down court. Podziemski corner three, got it.
A lot of people like watching Curry play, but Jimmy gets to play with him, and obviously
for Curry, he'll turn 37 on March 14th. Moody
again. Warriors, you know, a chance to make up some real ground. Their strength of schedule is very.
2 games separating 6 from 8, and 3 games, a game back of them in the loss column. Phoenix is 2 games back in the loss column. Out, so is Klay Thompson. Don't know that we'll see them again. Here's Brandon Williams.
But I think the thing only thing, I mean, they're on a good run. Teams like Dallas that are not healthy and are not getting healthy, and others
on this road trip coming up for the Warriors.
Yeah, and that'll be big, and they'll be up. And who's going to be able to make that stretch run?
Post.
Looking at the post part of it, but it was Butler they got. That'll be an overanalyzed game for sure.
3-point best basketball of the season right now. He had a great rookie year.
When we were here a month or so ago, when he was missing bad.
And boards 3 3-pointers. Kevin Knox is on the floor, so Green. So don't think we'll see Steph again. He'll finish with 30 points.
The minutes of Butler, Green, Curry, understanding they're all a little older.
And find their rhythm as a group. And you have to make sure you get in. And Prosper won't fall.
More important than people think. You know, and I don't know really. And we got to the playoffs as the #1 seed. That team. We'd lost to the Clippers the year before in the first round. The leader. A little bit like, guys, follow me and I'll show you the story. Because that's the year Steve Kerr asked Andre to come off the bench. Embraced it, and that set a tone. It allowed Steve to coach the team. It's just a fascinating story.
You use the word stability.
Andre did. He could guard his player. He could help you guard your player. Could play on the ball. Was a great distributor, great defender. Multiple was mine. And a lot of times you meet with a free agent, you try to convince them. This is said, stop. I don't even know I want to come. You know, just stop. Figure out the money. Richard Jefferson, one of the guys, Dave Pash, one of my coworkers. We've talked about this before.
Diminishing skills.
Well, I mean,
point,
he came back around the game so many times, Dave, in a playoff series. When we would do walks, that's a good idea, but here's what we need to do. We need to guard. I think that's best because he knew so much. One of the smartest guys really to ever play.
Here, Golden State on its way to win number 30. Hosts LA against the Lakers. And that's a foul.
This is what we saw today, Dave. This is Dallas giving their best shot. But
his 15th straight game. Powell, his 15th straight game. Those guys will come back, and then we'll get to see what they look like, because you know, with ESPN was he wanted a 5 so that he could play.
Cleveland, I guess you can talk about Boston doing it, but they play him with Towns.
That's a good thought, yeah.
And so maybe kid's onto something. Now I do shooting from a decent percentage, so people have to honor him out there because you just.
But the trades that Harrison made last year to bring in P.J. Walker,
a lot of people upset, but we'll see. You know, we'll see where it goes. Watching that and remembering that, and that's
finishes 2-2. Had Dallas won this game, if there was a tiebreaker, they're at 14 of his 18 points in the first half.